But yeah, let's get into The Mandalorian. This was what I think brought a lot of us to the service to start with. Did you happen to catch it, Mitch?
So here's the thing. And not to say anything about my lovely wife, but she is not a Star Wars fan like I am, so I have to find time where she's busy doing something in order to watch anything Star Wars related. I have not had that chance yet.
You can see the first 2 episodes under an hour.
Okay.
50 minutes.
Then
the first is like 30, I think, and the second's 20.
But 29 is the second one. I think the first one's close to 40.
Okay, so yeah,
so about an hour.
Yeah,
I mean, my wife hates Star Wars.
Yeah.
She loved The Mandalorian.
Really?
Yeah.
But see, she also hated Star Trek, and she loves the Orville, so maybe there is hope.
Yes.
Okay.
A new hope, if you will.
Yes.
What were your what were your thoughts?
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best space western I've ever seen.
Everybody's falling in love with Baby Yoda.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the soundtrack is incredible. It's a mix of John Williams meets, Clint Eastwood western.
Right.
Which is just, and so is the show. I mean, it's a mix of Star Wars, and an old spaghetti western type thing. It was Favreau really killed it.
Where in the movie lore does it take place? Is
5 years.
5 years after Jedi. Yeah.
Return of Jedi.
Okay, so 5 years after the first movie that ever came out.
No, the last and the first. How do you say it?
So is the original trilogy? It's after so this is after Vader dies.
Okay.
And the Emperor dies.
Okay.
So it's been 5 years since then.
Okay, so how does Baby Yoda come into play?
We're still figuring that out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still very vague.
Because he basically went to the Force.
He has Force abilities.
So he came.
But he does.
So when you go into the Force as a ghost, right, you can come back out, but you're born a baby?
That's the thing. A lot of people are just...
It's not Yoda.
Yeah. A lot of people,
okay.
Yeah,
it's just his race. They're just calling him Baby Yoda.
Unless it's...
Because it's the same race, but it's not Yoda.
Unless he's reincarnated. That could be thing.
So this is
could
the first...
be, but I don't think so.
I prefer same race, just maybe a son of Yoda? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's Yoda himself, only because...
He laid an egg.
The canon of him being in Last Jedi is a Force ghost still.
Right.
It's not Yoda.
Right.
It's part of his race.
Unless he died again.
And they've only showed one other...
Because they've never really gone into his lore.
It's a good mystery. His race is so.
Yeah, it's really it is really cool. People are just calling it Baby Yoda because it's just an easy way to say, hey, it's a Baby Yoda.
It looks like Yoda, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little cute guy. I think he's maybe mixed between a puppet and a CGI.
All I know is that the CGI doesn't interfere with.
No,
it's not too much.
No, it's
really
high
cool.
scale. Like it's
they threw movie budget money at it. So
yeah, and you can tell.
Nick Nolte, man, he really transformed himself for the role, didn't he?
Nick Nolte's in there.
Spoken.
I know, it just
yeah.
It's not the old Nick Nolte way of.
It's not.
I'm gonna do some drugs.
Yeah.
Not when he was in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, no, not
this
that.
This was. He has a very cool performance.
It looks like him though, kind of the character.
They make, they do.
Think, yeah. So like, there's like this little alien creature dude, and it's Nick Nolte's voice.
Oh wow!
His new catchphrase, "I have spoken," is like really catching on.
Yeah, it's getting traction.
I wouldn't try it with your wife because that won't end well.
I know. I told her I was going to start saying that at work.
I have spoken. Is that going to be at the end of your emails?
Basically.
Last night, she was like, I'll have another drink. I have spoken.
Yeah. It was fun last night talking because Kim and her husband Chase, they're huge Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
We talked about The Mandalorian for like 30 straight minutes. So
man, that's something. Yeah, it was... they're nice and short episodes. The second one's a little shorter, but it's like... it's concentrated on one type of setting, so... Yeah, it's like you're on the ground. You're not really in space too much, and they probably get there. But Star Wars could be so much more than it is. Like it's a huge universe, and then problem is with these saga films, I think they really don't expand as much. Everything's got to be connected, right?
Yeah.
And
you have a span of 2 or 3 hours to get in a whole storyline.
That's
so you
true
can't,
too. Yeah,
you can't really delve that far into a lore.
But it's cool to see the whole Mandalorian mythos, like they're part of a union, right?
It's a religion.
Yeah. Yep. Helmet stays on, and
certain type of armor.
Yes.
And you know, it was cool seeing them explore that for the first time ever, you know.
Right,
and-
it's always been something like you kind of... Well, I think fan fiction probably covered a lot of that, but
Yeah.
of course they've ignored fan fiction.
But it was cool seeing him go and get that piece melted down, and
Sure,
you know,
sure.
it was just a really cool deal. And
Yeah,
you know, like episode 2 is only 29 minutes long, and there's no dialogue for the first 10 minutes.
yeah.
You know, I mean,
but it's eye candy. It's
and
like
it is
a toy box. Like
and it tells a
everything-
story without needing the words to do it. You know,
Who are the scavenger little dudes?
Jawas.
Jawa. So you get to see the interior of their ship, like the driver's
Really?
seat, pretty much. Yeah. I don't want to give it away, but you go into all these cool things you've seen on screen, but there's just
Didn't
been no
get to
time.
explore, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is it's really.
I kind of
really
feel
cool.
like Jon Favreau has really jettisoned himself into quite the producer and director and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
for
He's
God's
got a
sake,
future.
he basically created
Yeah.
the Marvel universe by.
He'll do okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy, he's going places.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's at now what I would consider the level of at least, Steven Spielberg, or
Sure.
as far as these comic books go. I mean, he is the go-to for how to do a good movie.
Yeah, he's very talented. If you watch the behind the scenes of that first Iron Man movie, it's as long, I think, as the movie.
Oh,
Worth
yeah.
seeing though, because man, he worked his ass off, and he
God,
wanted
I
it
mean-
to look so good and real. Like he challenged ILM to make the effects, and he wanted to use, I think, as much realism as possible.
But he realized like how big of a wall he was up against too, because he was just like, if this fails,
he was ready though.
Marvel's
Yeah, he just-
not going to go anywhere. So basically, he leaned on Marvel heavy for source material, and because that they were so willing to do that, I think that's the reason why we have the Marvel universe
He's
as
just
is.
multi-talented. Like he still
Yeah.
acts. He was in Spider-Man.
And he's funny, and I mean, he does stuff outside of just making movies too, and they're good.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
his cooking show on Netflix.
Yeah, which is loosely based off of the movie Chef he did, which is just, if you're a foodie, that is the movie. Like it's
Oh,
such
yeah.
a good movie. It's a good father
Yeah.
and son movie. It's just a fun movie. It's an
Yeah.
enjoyable movie. There's not a whole lot of drama in it, but yeah, the chef that helped him inspired him to make that movie. They had that cooking show.
Yeah.
So he's all over the place, and he used to do. Oh gosh, he used to do a dinner show with all creators, directors, actors. I forgot what it was called, but it was really cool. They'd all sit around, eat dinner, and talk about their craft, and
Oh yeah,
you just get to know them outside of what you usually see. But yeah, going back to the show, yeah, you're having a different director per episode, I think, or maybe maybe they used to do a couple. I'm not sure, but the alien dude in the first episode, Mithril, I think is his name. Blue dude with the scales. That was Horatio Sands from SNL.
what?
Was it really?
Yes, and I recognized something. I was like, "This is someone I know."
The voice was familiar to me.
Yeah.
I didn't look at who was playing who.
Yeah, so if you go to IMDb, you'll see it's him. That was a cool character.
Yeah.
I like the whole Brian Posehn, who's a big comedian. Well, I don't know if he's a huge comedian. He's up there.
Yeah.
He was the dude that took them to the ship. That whole
Right.
scene was cool. I liked all that. It was a really good build-up. Horatio Sands' character referred to Life Day.
Yeah.
So a lot of people some are liking that, some are hating that, because they're like, you're saying the Star Wars Christmas special, which has been deemed unwatchable, like
Right.
terrible. You can get it on YouTube. It's
Yep.
not on Plus.
I'm surprised.
Really not a Star Wars. It's weird. It's such
bad.
a weird. Yeah, it was one of those variety shows that came out.
Its only claim to fame is the introduction of Boba Fett.
Right, and I think that's why Favreau kind of likes that special because of that. And I think he's kind of hinted at maybe remaking it or making a new one that's going to probably please people this time. But back then, did you recall catching that at all?
I thought it was bad.
Really?
And I loved Star Wars.
Yeah.
Did you actually watch it when it was?
Yeah, when it was out
Wow.
on TV.
Well, if you go watch it, Harrison Ford could care less, or couldn't care
Yeah.
less. Carrie Fisher, I think she was on something. Mark Hamill, they put so much makeup on him. He looks like a Ken doll.
I feel so bad though
It's so
because
weird.
if you watch it, Mark Hamill actually tried in that. I mean, he gave a damn and he wanted it to be good.
This
and
is right
it
after
wasn't.
the first one. It wasn't like Empire
Yeah.
yet. Yeah. And yeah, when they're doing the introductions in the beginning, Harrison Ford just like,
Yeah,
Exactly.
you could just be counting his money.
and B. Arthur.
Harvey Korman as this robot chef. It's bizarre. And Chewie's family, man, that's so weird. There's like a grandpa. And
Doesn't the grandpa read like an adult magazine or something like that?
What's her face? She was a big singer back in the day. She's dancing and stuff, and it's kind of like they're porno. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They kind of hint at that, but
I don't remember who that was.
it's so weird. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's so crazy. But yeah, anyway, people were freaking out.
So that was the introduction of Boba Fett?
Yes, cartoon.
So what
it was
was
a cartoon?
Yep.
Because before I knew that, I saw Empire, right? And I know there's a big fan base for Boba Fett, and I was like, I don't get it. You only see him stand there, right?
Yeah.
Does he have any dialogue in Empire?
No.
And so
I think as
he's
you
standing.
wish.
He's standing
Okay.
right next to Vader, though, isn't
says.
yes,
he? Yeah.
Yeah.
he looks badass. But
Yeah.
I never got how this evolved, like how people love this character. It just appeared one time to me because I didn't know he was in the special and all that. And then you obviously were more invested when it was hitting the scene. So when Return came out and he died so terribly, were you like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because he literally goes, oh, he gets shot by something. Yeah. Which people now
Wilhelm
say,
scream and gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean,
made it like
A character that's so badass that they have to bring him into the new, like, early 2000s series, and then they kill him by the mouth of the monster that's in the sand.
and in the books, though,
they brought him back.
They brought him back and had a
he got out of
plausible
there.
way of escape. And
Oh, did
it
they?
made total sense. Yeah. It was, thank God they did it.
Right.
But yeah, it was just dumb at the time.
When
Because in Empire, he made such a cool impression with only saying a couple words.
right.
You know, and
You think you'd expand? Like, Phasma is the new Boba Fett, I think. You know, I think Phasma could have been bigger just because the actress they got.
Right.
Like, why would you cast somebody like that if you weren't going to really use them? You know?
Right.
I think for the Mandalorian's finale, I could honestly see the last shot, Boba Fett crawling out of that thing. And then he could go anywhere you want.
Right,
after that.
yeah.
Like, that would... People would just be like, yes.
They'd lose
What
their
doesn't
crap.
make any sense is, okay, and maybe you guys can help, is the Clone Wars, I get that. They created a whole race of basically Boba Fett's, but how is that what ends up being the start? The guys all in white? I know I'm speaking really
They used
stupidly.
the dude who was Jango Fett. They used his DNA
Right.
to make the clone army.
And
They
then
are
that's
not-
how the army. So then, where does Boba Fett come into play? Is it because his
Boba's
dad
the
gets
son.
killed?
Yeah.
he was an
yeah.
unaltered clone. And so,
Oh right, yeah, of course. Forgot about
yeah,
that.
they, with all the other clones, they went through like a rapid aging process and all this stuff.
Right.
And so
But they
he
didn't
kept
do that.
one as his son.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, he was raised that way.
Right. Hopefully they'll bring him back. That would be something special. A lot of people thought maybe this.
So the
Mandalorian
stormtroopers
is,
are not a part of the.
No, they're not
Fett
part
race.
Of, no,
Okay.
he was doing it just for financial gain. I think pretty much, right?
Yeah, that's all it was. They just wanted to use someone
Mm-hmm.
who, and it was just happened to be him.
But yeah, it's super cool. You know, it's like he's like the Clint Eastwood character from the westerns. Only his voice and Pedro Pascal, man, that's such a great.
God, that guy's amazing.
That's a great opportunity for him to play. I mean, it's a big deal for him to play that character, and I don't know if I don't know if
Will he take his helmet off so you can actually
that's the
see
thing.
him?
Like, I don't know if I want him to,
Yeah.
or I don't
I don't know if I want him to either, but either way, I mean, the limited dialogue that he's had has been pretty awesome. You know, I
he's
mean,
just-
Well, Pedro himself, his dialect, the way that he talks is very unique, and it's one of those things where you kind of get drawn in on every word he says. I mean, even in the Kingsman, the movie that he's in there, it's just you kind of get drawn into his character and
I love
get
what he
mad
did
when
with
you find
Kingsman.
out that he's an evil guy at the very end.
The next episode of Mandalorian, I believe, it comes out the 22nd. So that was a treat Friday. I didn't know they were releasing episode 2.
yeah, I saw their release schedule early in the week, and I was like, all right, sweet, we got 2 this week, and then
Yeah.
every Friday after that. So
And you've seen them each one twice.
I've seen
right?
each one twice.
That's what's nice. They're short.
Oh yeah,
Like if they were an hour long, could you see yourself watching it again?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Steve is definitely giving his seal of approval.
That MMA fighter
I
or
love it,
whatever,
too.
that Carla, is she in the first
No,
episode?
she has not been introduced yet. That's,
No,
that's
the
another
first
thing.
2 episodes she's not in yet.
All these cool characters are coming.
Because
which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really hyping her up on the internet right,
Right.
now. And
Carl
it's-
Weathers, he's only in
He
the
was
first
in
episode.
his second episode, Oh, first. You're right.
Yeah,
First.
to give the job.
And to give the job. And
then that German dude, he went.
I love
to
seeing
see.
him, though. Carl Weathers. He's great.
Yeah, it's good to see
If this
him back.
takes off, do you think that they'll do like another?
They're already doing a second season.
Yep. And Carl Weathers might actually direct an episode, which I think that's great for him because that gives him an opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
this is a big comeback for him. It's a big deal. So,
And he's always been phenomenal.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
That
Oh yeah,
guy's
Action
awesome.
Jackson.
Apollo Creed.
Yeah,
He's an
Predator.
icon.
Whoever he was in that movie, bicep guy. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know any of the names.
Single-armed boy.
Bicep
Whatever they
guy.
call him.
No, it is a treat though to see your old, like we were talking about earlier. You know, these old stars coming back into the limelight, and it's really cool. Yeah, he's very talented, and I don't know who the guy is who gives him the job. He has to meet him in that fortress. He's like the German accent dude. Yeah, there's a funny thing about that. I guess later on, Baby Yoda will somehow be by him, and they filmed. They didn't know if the animatronics would work for Baby Yoda, so they filmed a scene with it and then a scene without it. And he was like basically the actor was telling the directors and producers, like, you guys are cowards if you don't believe in like, just believe in it.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. So I don't know.
That's
I'm
cool.
still curious how much of that is animatronics. It's
Right.
He's adorable. He's like
Jennifer loves him.
He's like Gizmo.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
pretty much what he is. Yeah.
Like a little hairless gremlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next Christmas.
Next Christmas.
Yeah, that gets you. Are you pumped more for Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, I mean, I was to begin with.
Sure.
I don't
You think
know.
it'll help or hurt that movie? Just given like we have new content now for Star Wars. Before
I think it'll help a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a fan base that it's like Game of Thrones. No matter what happens,
Yeah.
people are going to complain.
right.
So it is what it is.